Now, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State earlier this week signed the anti-cultism bill into law. The new law, Prohibition of Unlawful Societies and Cultism of 2021, seeks to combat cultism in Lagos State by giving stiffer punishments to convicted cultists and those abetting them. The law stipulates 21-year jail term for convicted cultists and 15-year jail time for those found guilty of abetting cultism. Well, joining me via Skype is President, CEO at Security Watch Africa Initiative, Patrick Agbambu. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
Now, as you know, cultism is an age-long thing in the society, and association, as we have said it, over time, over the years, this has been part of our lives. But we see that it's taking a frightening dimension, not just in the tertiary institutions. Sometimes we find them in secondary schools and even primary schools, and this is generating concerns. Before we get to this new bill signed into law, by the Lagos State Governor. Talk to us what concerns you have had over the years with regards to our handling of issues bordering on cultism.
Yeah, thank you. I believe that the society and the government in Nigeria had been lukewarm towards the dangers of cultism, and that has made it to remain, and now it's now an endemic, or what we can say even an epidemic, because every part of the country is now affected. And the truth of the matter is that cultism is the mother of all crime. If anyone who gets into cultism would definitely be involved in all shades and all manners of criminality. And so it's a very serious issue. It's a very serious situation that we have in our hands now, and I'm happy that state governments are beginning to take drastic actions and measures to tackle it. But it will not be only punitive measure that will check it. It demands a lot for us to get out of this situation.
Now, you said that we have been lukewarm when it comes to addressing issues of cultism. Why do you think we have been lukewarm, so to speak?
Yeah, because let me take you back a bit. When it started initially, it was just like in higher institutions, in the universities, friends coming together to socialize. And it graduated to becoming, we need to defend ourselves, then to the point of we need to take territory, we need to control, we need to show our strength. Then it gets, they start attacking those who are in other rival cult groups and showing power. Then the politician, the political class bought into it by hiring some of all these cultists in the universities as their thugs to fight for them. That even made it more stronger, that various cult groups want to assert their authority, their powers, so they can be able to attract patronage, so to say, from political personalities, and it grew in that form. All this while, nothing was done to checkmate the adverse effect of cultism. Now, it became very attractive when you are a member of any cult group in a higher institution, because you are fearsome, you are regarded as a powerful person. Both children from the affluence and they do not too well to do and became members of these cult groups. And when any of these ones were arrested, parents quickly make sure that their children are released or not detained or do not go to prison. And this emboldened most of them. It grew out of the university world to going to secondary schools. And yet we didn't see it as a very serious situation. Now it had gone from secondary school to primary schools. Now it's no longer in schools any longer. It's on the street. Artisans are now members of cult groups. Those who are drivers, commercial drivers, are now members of cult groups. So it now become an industry for to be used, to be hired by political class. So the major factor that gave rise to the strength of this cultism in Nigeria is one, like I said earlier, the lukewarm attitude at that point. The government did not see it as a very serious issue. Second, the parents themselves were rallying around their children to protect their children who were involved in all this. In third, and most important factor, the political involvement, politicians hiring them as thugs, and that is why it's been like that. So that's why I say we have been handling it with lukewarm attitude in the past.
And now that the government is looking to totally, so to speak, eradicate cultism in the society, beginning with Lagos, for instance, you have mentioned the political dimension with regards to it. Do you see that perhaps posing a challenge to its total eradication, in spite of the efforts that government might be looking to put in place?
The efforts government is making now, Lagos State is done that. We know some other states who are taking drastic measures to be able to curtail this spread. But it demands more than just government actions. The society and the family must must also take drastic measures, because families should stop shielding their children and make sure that any child who is behaving abnormal, because the traits are there. When a child becomes a cultist, family definitely will know. People around him will know. But most of the time, we do not look that way. We do not care, and that makes it to become a problem to the society. The political class, like I said, they still have a role to play by saying no to violence during elections. If you notice, recently the issue of cultism have started becoming a bigger issue, because I'll tell you, 2023 is seems far, but is near to politicians, and these cult groups are beginning to look. Let us take position. Let us take prominent position so that we can be hired. And they have different affiliates. They have the younger one, the feeder teams that feed the older ones. So it's become a well-structured criminal gangs. You see in streets, people want to dominate areas. Some cult groups want to dominate areas and ensure that they are the ones that are more powerful. So apart from government action, apart from the political, like Lagos State government and some other governments that are coming out seriously on it, parents and society must also take steps to say no to cultism, and that is the only way we can be able to stem the tide of dangerous time that is ahead of us.
Well, the Lagos State government has also read out the punishment for families, although not clearly stated. Well, it says that parents whose children are convicted of cultism are going to face some level of punishment. And some would say that perhaps parents are now too busy to actually see the signs to addressing these issues. How can they create that balance such that they may be busy, but then are still very present in the lives of their children?
Yeah, that is the difficult time we're in, because parents are busy. That's the truth. We can't shy away from that reality. In the past, where we have one arm of the parent making sure that the home is well structured, is no longer there. So both the father and the mother, they are out there looking for how to provide for the family. So that actually puts a lot of strain and challenge to the families and also the children. And like you pointed out, when these children get involved in all these things, because there are no close contacts with these children, you may not easily notice. But there are signs, like I said earlier, like for instance, in environment, in community, we still live a little bit close-knitted society, families, unlike in some developed countries where nobody cares about what is happening. And most of the time, when these neighbors tell either a father or a mother, the way your son is moving around, I saw him somewhere and I don't like it. Most time the parents want to shield their children and say, no, my son cannot do things like that. But it's time that when situations like that come, that the mother or the father or whoever that gets that information must take action seriously, especially at the beginning. It may be easier to checkmate this at the earlier stage, but when it has grown, becomes a little bit difficult because they see the attraction that comes in there, and most of the time they are motivated to carry out some of the dastardly acts by the kind of substance they take, the drugs and all that. So it comes with a lot of issues. But when a parent must find time, at least maybe twice in a week or once in a week, to monitor the activities of the child. For those who are in school, to have a close watch over them in the school environment by getting any of the teachers or a caregiver to monitor how the child is behaving and report back and take drastic action. There's still a way to balance, in as much as the parents are very busy. This at time of communication, there are phones that you can use to be able to monitor what the child is doing and where the child is at any particular time. Technology must be involved in this period. We can't say that parents should stop working because they need to fend for the families. And no matter how much you say it's easy to balance, it's a bit difficult. So I'm advocating that more of technology, more of getting people to watch over the child and report back to you, and you taking action immediately, not being lackadaisical about it, whatever is said about your child. That would be a way to balance the situation that we have at hand.
Well, beyond parents, there are also those who we can also say are influencers, people like traditional leaders and also religious leaders. What role do they have to play in cases like this?
Yeah, they have so much, many, very wide, big role to play, I must say. But let me tell you that in some instances, in some states, and even in Lagos State, some traditional rulers have been fingered in some of all these cult activities, and it's sad when those who in the society who should be examples are the ones that either directly or indirectly fueling or these cult activity. It's sad, really, and I'm happy that in some states, some traditional rulers have been disciplined for that. In some states, like Lagos State, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, CP Hakim Odumosu, did warn some traditional rulers that if any cult activity in the environment, they'll be held responsible. Those are steps that can be taken for those traditional rulers who decide to support this evil we are talking about. Religious leaders, religion is the opium of the people, and which is true. As many of them are doing what they should do, they are trying to preach, to talk to their people, but most of the youths these days don't care about what some of them are doing. In those days, both in the mosques and in the churches, there, apart from the normal preaching that is done, there are various classes that takes place. But these days, most of these youths are too busy to even attend or to even listen. Even while they are there, they are busy with their cell phones, doing other things. So it becomes a little bit difficult. But I believe that this religious group who help to form characters, to correct characters, still have to do more and not look away from that side, because if a child perishes, it's a minus not only to the parents but to the society and to the religious organization that the child belongs to. So they have a whole lot to do to be able to help in this situation.
Now let's look closely at the bill signed into law by the Lagos State Governor, 21-year jail term. Would you say that perhaps could serve as a deterrent? Is that in itself enough to addressing these issues?
Yeah, I was discussing with somebody just 2 days ago about this. Somebody said that seems very punitive, and I said yes, prison terms. It's not something that people should be glad about. It's supposed to serve as a deterrent or as a correction. But so putting that here, it's good, but it just to discourage people from falling foul of the law and living the right, being at the right part of the law. So it's good, but what we're having in our correctional centers today in Nigeria, it's very sad, because our correctional centers are not what they are or they should be. It's become a breeding ground for criminals. Somebody who goes in there, maybe having committed a minor crime, comes out, becomes a hardened criminal. It's sad. So in as much as we support such years of imprisonment, I think we'll actually call that government should do more to the issue of what correctional centers are really or should be, which is correcting this child. Because if a child is found guilty for cultism and it's sent to prison, which is supposed to correct, and it comes out becoming hardened criminal, it has not helped society. So I'm calling that the government and those who are involved in making sure that our correctional centers be what they should be must do something. Because I tell you, a lot of if the judiciary also carries out their work diligently, and the police prosecute properly, sadly a lot of youths may be imprisoned. It's sad, but that is the reality, because the number of cultists we have in the country today across the federation is very, very alarming. In some cases, you see children of even as little as 8 years, 9 years are being members of cult group. There are, like I said earlier, there are cult groups that have graduating ages, junior Vikings, junior Degbams, and various other ones. So it's a big problem. You get a child of 9, 10, 11, and is convicted. He or she is convicted and sent to prison. You have messed up that child's life. So we think that our juvenile centers should also be what they're supposed to be, because children like that should not be sent to prisons. They should be corrected so that they can in future realize that what they did is wrong and become good citizens. So yeah, I support the jail term for the years, but I also call that more still needs to be done. Lagos State, for instance, is doing a lot in terms of helping the Nigerian Correctional Service to make the prisons more friendly, more correctional centers as it should be. Other states should emulate. The federal government itself must also do much more to be able to make it better.
But one last question before we let you go, Patrick, and it's just straight to the point. Are you confident that we can really eradicate cultism in our society?
This is actually a very difficult question to answer. Like you said, straight to the point. It's difficult. It's difficult because the factors I mentioned earlier must actually do what they should do if we must eradicate it. But seriously speaking, it's difficult. But I'm hopeful that if we do what we should do, campaigns like this, awareness campaigns like this, and the government doing what they should do, society be watching over these children, parents also correcting their children, then we can overcome it.
All right. President, CEO, Security Watch Africa Initiative, Patrick Agbambu, thank you for your time. on the program.
Thank you.